What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rundown. I'm your host, as always, Drew Johnson. If you're new to the show, make sure you guys are following us on all socials at the platform BR. You can find myself at Real News 102. And I really appreciate all the people that's been supporting and liking and subscribing to the channel, man. The more you guys, like the videos, it lets me know you guys are interested in them. And the more you guys subscribe, we can grow as well. So for those who have been paying attention, though, man, we're on week 6. If you haven't checked out our recent episodes, make sure you guys check them out below. We've had about 15 guests on to start the season, man, and we're just going to keep it rolling for sure. We got a big 3-panel on again tonight. Just to give you guys a preview, man, we're going to kick things off with 2025 quarterback Preston Wright. Man, he's had some recent success down there at Chaminade-Madonna. We'll hear from him here in a second. He'll talk some ball, some recruiting, and more. Just give you guys an insight and rundown on what he's got going on. We'll transition over to 2026 quarterback Darryon Jones. He's going to recap a hot start to the season over at Tampa Bay Tech. He talks a little bit about recent recruiting and about a hot start he's had too. He's thrown for over 1,000 yards to start the season. So I'm just glad to give him the spotlight as well. Man, we got to wrap things up with my OGs, man. My media heads. We'll wrap things up with national scout Marc Henry. He comes on to talk Texas high school rankings, man. They have about 11 teams ranked nationally right now in the top 25. He's going to preview a big-time game, DeSoto versus Duncanville matchup here coming up in 2 weeks. So just make sure you guys stay tuned for Mark, man. But all right, man. First guest, man. I got him waiting on me. Like I said, we're gonna kick things off hot here. You know what I'm saying? This kid has been putting on the show after making a move over from Central Florida to South Florida to lead a well-known Chaminade-Madonna program, man. I've watched this kid progress over the last few years. Just glad to have him on. Definitely deserves a spotlight. Welcome to the show, everybody. Preston Wright. What's up, my brother? Yeah.
What's up? Sir. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's really a pleasure, especially with you guys. Y'all have been with me throughout, since I was a freshman at Trinity Catholic at Ocala. You guys have been covering me, giving me a lot of love. So I really appreciate that, you and your whole team. So I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate that intro, brother, for sure. But let's kick things off the right way, man. You're a new guest on the show. We know a little bit about you, been following the last couple of years, but let's talk a little about your background, man. Let's talk about how you got into football and what some of the things you've done to get to this point, brother.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so a lot of people don't know, but I was a lineman, actually. I was a lineman until about my 8th grade year. And if the people that really know that my heart's at baseball. As a younger kid, I played baseball throughout my entire life. Baseball was always my thing. And then as I started getting older, football started taking over a little bit more. But so it's been a journey, man. I played O-line, D-line until about my 8th grade year. I always knew I wanted to play quarterback, but never just really got the chance because I was always bigger. Played up, didn't really fill into my body until a little bit later. And then Trinity Catholic gave me a great opportunity, which I'll forever be thankful for, playing early as an underclassman. Started my sophomore year, played in a state championship, came back my junior year. I started once again, went to another state championship. Yep. And we get the news that Dad's gonna have to take a job down here in South Florida. So we moved down a couple months before the summer. We moved down like January, February, and it was another long journey. Ended up at Chaminade-Madonna right as the summer started, and it was a journey in itself to even get there, and then a whole another journey when we got there. So I'm blessed. God is good. I've been through a lot, especially these last couple of years, and I didn't have the the typical quarterback journey to where most quarterbacks are. They've been looked at since they were 3rd, 4th grade. Especially nowadays, these kids have that spotlight on them since they were 10, 11 years old, and that's just not my story, man. I'm happy about it because I'm able to give a lot of love to the kids who may have been overlooked when they were younger, and especially the ones that they're undersized or they're growing to their body. They may have been a little bit underestimated, especially how it is. Nowadays these quarterbacks are everybody's getting crowned when they're 10, 11 years old. So
the offers are coming earlier and earlier, right?
Yeah, so it's pretty cool to be able to represent for the kids that may have been undervalued and overlooked. So
You've done one thing that, it's a saying that we call it's saying getting it out the mud. You know what I'm saying? You definitely got it out the mud. You know what I mean? So you definitely earned the spotlight, like you said. Not the start you wanted, but hey, it don't matter, right? It's what makes you as a man. Sometimes you don't want the easy route. You know what I mean? That's what molds you into the man you are today. But let's talk about it, man. Dual sport athlete. You kind of mentioned that. So you're busy year round, and you definitely gets it done in the classroom as well. But let's talk about the off-season grind, man. What were some of the things you worked on with your trainers and your coaching staff to kind of like elevate your game heading into your senior season?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So, going into this senior season, not knowing if I was going to be starting was really hard. Like, especially being at a new school, you're hearing everything. Everybody's telling you to transfer out. You know, you could be starting in every high school in South Florida is what you're being told. And it's one of those things that you got to kind of have to, trust the Lord. We felt like I was where I needed to be. And I mean, I haven't not started since my sophomore year. So it's one of those things that you kind of, the back of your head, like, come on, like, what are we doing? We may not be starting this year. Why are we here? But this is one of the things sometimes you got to push through adversity. And even if it had gone a different way, I feel like it staying at Chaminade was what was best for me. And I'm extremely just grateful that I was able to go through what I went through. And I know that may sound crazy because for a time I was the third string of Chaminade, and that's kind of the story that gets told. But we had a kid leave an injury, and then I was ready to go. And it's just one of those things that I knew I always had the capability of doing it. Did it up in North Florida for a long time, but, down south, you kind of got to reset yourself. You got to prove yourself the whole different atmosphere, different type of football down here, and it's a different type of love for the game that's shown down here. So you got to be able to show that you can do it down here with all the bright lights. So I was able to do that. God is good because throughout it all, I had to lean on my faith, and that's one thing that I've always everybody's been asking, why'd you stay, why'd you do this, why'd you do that? And it was a lot of long nights of prayer. My parents, I'm extremely thankful for them. They kept me grounded through it all. There were times that you start to lose yourself through it all, but I'm extremely grateful that I have a strong support system. Brothers, my family, and I'm extremely blessed.
Yes, sir. Now, you mentioned starting over at Trinity Catholic, going back-to-back state championships, man, in the 2022-2023 seasons. We fast forward to today. What was that feeling like when you got that nod to lead, one of the Florida's most successful programs and coaching staffs over the last decade in Chaminade-Madonna?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So being at Chaminade, I refer to it as a machine gun because I just have so many bullets. You know what I'm saying? I just got so many guys get the ball to their hands. So it's one of those things that I knew I would start that game against Heritage. First game, you're starting. It's one of those things that a lot of people may not expect one thing out of you, but you got to be able to go and show that you can do it. And I knew the whole time I could go out there and play well, but it was just a matter of time. When you get your opportunity, you got to be ready to go because I'm a strong believer that everybody's gonna get their opportunity. It's just a matter of what you do with it. So I got the nod. We're going into Heritage. Everybody had us down in that game. Everybody thought we were gonna lose that game. We were 0-2 at the time. Heritage came in 2-1, and their only loss was to Milton in the ESPN game and everything. So all these expectations, and we went out there 48 points, beat them 48-5, 45 off game. It was a really, really, really cool moment to see, everything that you've gone through kind of pay off. And then with our team, I was extremely happy for our guys. We've been hearing bad about us starting off 0-2 and everything. And we go out and get a big win against a good team like that on a big stage. I think Heritage was ranked 11 or 12 nationally at the time. So for us to go out there and, remind people that, we're still the best thing down in South Florida. So it was a really cool experience. We, personally, I mean, I think I ended about 500 yards, 520 total yards in that game. But without the O-line and without my, those guys in the backfield and out wide for me, none of them possible. Our coaches had a great game plan. They kind of, changed things up a little bit, as I would say, because it's just a different kind of playing style, you would say. But, I was just extremely blessed, man. The pieces fell together, and then we went out there and had a big win, a big stage, the bright lights. A lot of people there, so it was pretty cool.
Preston, listen, now I gotta ask you, did the quarterback talk? You kept it good, sounds real good. But when you see a headline like Preston Wright delivers on a big stage for Chaminade-Madonna in a win over Plantation American Heritage, when you see a headline like this, when you're going home, before you lay your head down on the pillow, how are you feeling? Like, what's going through your mind after winning in that type of fashion?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, like, especially, when you've been through a lot of stuff, but you guys all remember where your blessings come from. That's the man above. And, one of my favorite verses was Psalm 37:6. And we're just talking about delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give the desires of your heart. and that really, came to fruition. It's like one of those things that you got to put him first. And the lines, the titles are cool, the stories are amazing. I'm extremely, grateful for that, especially coming from a place that you may not have been covered as much as you are covered down in South Florida. So it's one of those things that I'm just extremely grateful that I've been put into the spotlight to be able to, tell my story and, go out and show, you don't always have to be recruited high as a younger kid. You don't have to have the crown as
The
a lot of
stars, you know what I mean?
the crown, when you're younger, when you get, a lot of these quarterbacks, like I said earlier, get the crown, it just goes up with them throughout high school. So I didn't have that. Wasn't on Twitter, man. I didn't have Instagram. I was under the spotlight.
Under the radar, man. Under the radar type kid, right? That's how you got a chip on your shoulder? I can hear it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is that something that motivates you? Like, let me ask you real quick, because we talked about that American Heritage game, but you followed that up, with another big time game against Edison, but also a huge game against one of the best teams in South Florida, right? In Miami, Norland. How do you prepare for these games? How do you stay locked in, going in, knowing you're finna deliver in these games, bro?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I will say our coaching staff puts us through some hard practices throughout the week. I mean, these practices that Chaminade has you going through will have you ready. And I always say nothing compares. I mean, we were Monday through Thursday just busting our butts. And, it's one of those things that when you get in the game, everything feels slow. Regarding the Edison game, you can't look at anybody's record down here because when they're playing Chaminade, everybody's going to give you their best foot forward. So you got to be ready. It's high school, man. Any given night, these teams can go out and beat anybody. So you got to put, what your rankings beside yourself. You got to turn that off, turn social media off, and go there and still play ball. Norland, I got to give them their credit, man. That was one of the best D-line. I think that was the best D-line I've ever played.
Yeah, those boys huge.
That's the size, man. They would run after me all night long. They threw some hits down, last minute. They made sure that they were going to feel you. But, just playing against competition like that can only just be ready for the next
resiliency, bro. It builds resiliency, you know what I mean?
So, yeah, and they came in with a lot of hype. Everybody thought we were going to lose that game as well, just like Heritage. So I was extremely happy that we went out there, 45-20 is a big statement. So extremely proud of our guys with that one.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about it, man. Kind of like midway through the season here, you got, over 1,000 passing yards with, I think, around 10 total touchdowns or maybe even more. But I know you come from a baseball background, which kind of helps you, throw off platform and, deliver in different ways. But what do you feel like separates yourself from other QB prospects in your class, brother?
Yeah, so I feel like just my work ethic. I mean, and like you said, my different background with baseball. You don't have to ask me, but I know I can make every throw on the field. And it's one of those things that's one thing I pride myself on that everybody usually says about me that there's one thing I can say, he can make every throw on the field. And just my knowledge of the game, I feel like I'm going to try to beat you before the ball's even snapped. Pre-snap reads, all the good stuff. And it's just not one thing that makes you a good quarterback. Leadership, all that stuff plays into factor. And especially coming in with a new team, I think that's one of the things I'm kind of proud of myself with. One thing that you always gonna hear is like, how is he gonna lead a group of guys that he hasn't even been around? Nevertheless, not even lived down here. How are you gonna come in and everybody's gonna look to you when times are rough? And I think that just goes back to what I'm saying about having a great support system there with other players that carry themselves and hold themselves to a higher standard. You're not out there by yourself. So it's one of those things that I'm just extremely blessed. And, when tough gets going, you got to be able to lean on yourself and know that even if you may have thrown a bad pass, you got to come back and have a short-term memory, come back and, have the bang eight in there if, you just floated one. So it's all good.
Yeah. Hey, man, well-spoken kid. Let's talk about it really quick, man. Kind of like we said, midway through the season here, you guys still got St. Thomas Aquinas on the schedule, but what's a personal goal for you this senior season? Throwing the guys like 4-star Jason Lopez and crew, right? Like you said, you guys got a boatload of skill talent surrounding you. But what's a personal goal for yourself? And what's the goal and mindset for this team after winning your last 3 games behind the stout defense that you guys got?
Yeah, our defense, I mean, they came alive last game. They
Yeah.
forced offense that everybody been telling us about Yapor and everything, how he's going to come down there and, score 50 on us and 6 touchdowns and all that stuff, whatever he said. But it was really cool to see our defense go out there and just ball. I mean, they had 2 or 3 turnovers, had a pick 6, and they only had 6 points given up on them. So, I mean, that's one of those things that you can't ask for anything else. And team-wise, we just got to continue to keep pushing. Our goal is to be 1-0 every week. We're not looking ahead to, everybody's going to try to, keep our focus on that St. Thomas game, which is in a couple of weeks. But we know that you're playing South Florida teams. We have Western this week and Monarch next week, excuse me. So, we're going to be ready for those games. We had a great game plan ready for Western this week. We had a great week of practice.
Yep.
With the hurricane or whatever tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Get this game in on Friday, but we're going to be ready regardless.
Yeah.
And, personal goals.
Personal, yeah.
Continue to lead these guys. I mean, I'm not. The stats are cool. I'm extremely blessed to be at 1,000 yards through 3 starts.
3 games, guys. 3 games, right?
1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. That's one of those things that you just gotta be thankful for, because there are a lot of kids that don't have the opportunity to throw as much as I do down here. So we're gonna be blessed, and we like a personal goal. I just keep giving the ball to my receivers, man. I mean, I just Denarius Gray, Jason Lopez, Kobe Howard, James, Washington. The list goes on. Those are just receivers.
Yeah. Wow, Kobe Howard.
The running backs, Trig Lewis, Derek Cooper, Armin Jackson. I mean, like I said, the list just start offers, all that stuff. But most importantly, those kids show up to work every day. So that's one of those things that you just when you got a group of guys that you can go to war with, it's pretty easy on me. So just extremely excited for the rest of the year. We've got 4 or 5 games left, and just keep the momentum going on, getting ready for the playoffs.
All right, Preston, man, wrap us up here, man. Senior season, man. He's had back-to-back state championships. When you look at his body to work, or he's been to back-to-back state championships in his high school campaign. He's made a move over to one of the bigger programs in the state of Florida, and he's dominating here through 3 games. What's the recruiting looking like, man? There's got to be some schools calling your coaches up. There's got to be some type of contact going on. If not, man, somebody's going to wake up here before the senior season ends. Talk to us, man. Is there any schools showing love, any offers right now, any schools we should be looking out for?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So I just had a great visit with Wingate, actually. Last weekend, went up and had a great time with Coach Kavanaugh. Those guys are amazing. They've kind of showed me love throughout the whole process, even when it wasn't look like I was going to be playing too much at Chaminade. But regardless of the whole bigger picture of other schools and everything, it was slow. I'm not gonna lie to you, over the summer, especially when people just didn't know what was going to happen with me. It was really slow. So we I'm a big believer on the Lord's got a plan for everybody. So it may not be obvious to me right now, where I'm going to end up, what it's going to look like, I don't know. So it's one of those things that I just got to continue to put out great film, great tape, leading these guys, playing to the level I've been playing at. And, all that stuff's going to come. But I'm just kind of really focused on, finishing out this year, finishing out strong, leading these guys, and offers and all that stuff will come. So.
Yeah, like you said, man, senior season, it's mainly about enjoying yourself, right? I feel like I was just in high school, man. It goes by quick. So make sure you enjoy this last year. Control what you can control on the field. You're doing what you need to do off the field, right, guys? He has a 4.6 GPA, so he's killing it off the field as well. So he keeps doing what he needs to do, like you said, putting that film out. Somebody's going to come knocking, and he'll find somebody that's showing love in him, right? That's what it's all about. Those that want you, that feels good. So, man, Preston, bro, big time senior year for you at Chaminade-Madonna. I want to say good luck to you guys against Western this week if the hurricane doesn't knock the lights out, man. But just glad to have this kid on, man. He's deserved the spotlight, like he said. We've been following along with him for a few years now. Definitely trying to help him get the exposure he deserves, right? But, man, just close out for us really quick, Preston. Let the people know where they can find you at, man.
Yeah, so you guys can get on Twitter it would be Preston W_11, and Instagram would be Preston Wright _10. So it's been crazy the last couple of weeks with social media and everything. You go from kind of under the radar to everything. So it's pretty cool. I'm extremely blessed, but I appreciate you guys. You guys, like I said, you guys were covering me back when I was a sophomore at TC. Yeah, under the spotlight, over there at TC, Cal, it's kind of it's way different than it is down here with the the media you get. So you guys kind of latched on to me when I was younger, and I forever appreciate that. So
No,
But I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a pleasure. Love what you guys do. Keep doing it. Keep it up, my man.
No, for sure, bro. We definitely want to have you back on, man. After you dominate some of these teams some more this season, and them coaches come knocking. But no, he deserves the spotlight for sure. Thank you, man. This 2025 quarterback, Preston Wright, brother. Thank you, man.
I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, man. We'll talk soon, bro.
Yes, sir.
Peace. Hey, man, smart kid right there, man. Very intelligent kid. He's like he talked about. He has that South Florida spotlight on him. He went back-to-back state championships, but to go to South Florida and be able to handle that, man, he has a bright future. And like I said, he gets it done off the field. So that's not going to limit him. So these Ivy League schools definitely need to be tapping in. So, all right, man, we're going to transition over to our next guest. Like I said, we're going to keep it rolling here. We just had a 2025 quarterback on, one of the top right now in South Florida, but we're going to transition over to the Tampa area, man. I got one of the top 2026 quarterbacks in the state right now, making noise over at Tampa Bay Tech. I've had my eyes on this kid as well, man, since he dominated our prep red zone camp. He took home the quarterback MVP. You know, just glad to have him on and give him the spotlight as well. Welcome to the show, everybody. Darryon Jones.
Hello. Thanks for having me today.
Hey, what's up, my boy? How's it going, man? Talk to us, man. Like I say, new guest. I got to start it off right, my boy. New guest, so let's kick it off. Let's talk to the people. Share them. How did you get into football, man? Let's talk a little about your background, how you came up in the Little League days, and kind of talk about, you know, what have you done to get to this point, brother?
I got into football around like 5 or 6 years old with the Green Bay Packers. Very fun, doing flag. That's where I met everybody usually. Like all my main homeboys that I talk to right now, that's where I met them, Green Bay Packers. But that's really it.
Yeah, that's where you started off at the Little League Green Bay Packers, so that's how you got locked into it. You know what I mean? When did you know you would start playing quarterback? You know what I'm saying? Like my boy, I just had my boy on. He said he played lineman all the way up to the 8th grade. So some quarterbacks got different stories, but what's yours, brother?
Well, I think I was always a quarterback, but like when I was young, I was an athlete, so I was usually playing like receiver, defensive end, linebacker, quarterback, a little bit of running back. So I was always doing something. But I really think, like, I decided to play quarterback around seventh grade.
That's when you really locked in, start doing the training, start getting the footwork, right?
Yes, sir.
Mechanics. Yes, sir. All right, man. All right, well, let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about some all-season ball. You know, I mentioned watching you look good at our camp over the summer, man, but let's talk to the people. You know, what are some of the things you worked on with your trainers, with your coaches to kind of improve your game going into this fall season?
Well, this past off season, I've been going to Baylor and Trujillo.
Yeah.
I've just been really like working on my feet work. Like that's the main thing. I'm a big body, and usually big quarterbacks like me, they have bad footwork. So that's the main thing, trying to work on my footwork and just simple quarterback mechanics.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Let's talk about it, man. You made your way over from Hillsborough High School and transferred to Tampa Bay Tech this year, man. You guys got some talent around. You already know what it is at TBT. So let's talk about how's the transition been, learning this offense. You know, how's the chemistry grown, you know, with this coaching staff and this group of guys?
The chemistry has grown a lot, especially because Tampa's a small city. So all of us have played against each other, with each other. So that's always been a big thing. And we are very competitive here in Tampa. So, you know, football, everything to us. But the transition was easy. I mean, it was hard and easy at the same time because, you know, it's just football. Once you've been playing football so long, everything becomes easy. But it was hard. It wasn't hard, but it was kind of a lot to understand the offense and understanding how everybody run routes, their speed to run the routes, their understanding of the defense. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know, you got to get that timing down with your receivers and whatnot. So that's what that transition is about. But, man, let's talk about it. You guys still got some good games on the schedule this season with Spoto, East Bay, and Durant kind of end the year off. But let's talk about, you know, what's a personal goal for yourself this season and what's the goal for this team, man, when you guys are trying to turn this season around and go deep into the playoffs? What's the conversation like with the guys?
Conversation like with the guys right now is like, hey, I'm gonna try to put the ball in y'all hands quick as possible and as accurate as possible. After that, our boys to do the rest and just break as many tackles, score if you can. Yeah. But hey, the goal is always to make it to the state championship and lead my team to the state championship. But right now, it's just week by week, go 1-0 each and every week.
That's the mindset to have, right? So you're not focused on the uncontrollables. But man, I know the Dallas Wilson kid, man. You guys got a couple others, man. But Who are some of the playmakers on this team who people might not know and should get their eyes on?
We got another that I'll say a Dallas Wilson. His name is Darryon Gwen, 6'5", 6'5",
6'5", receiver.
Yeah, number 11. Yes,
number 11. Okay.
Then we got Javarius Lundy, our our 4-star safety. He's been playing a lot of receiver.
Yeah. I like him.
He's been filling in for Santonio since Santonio got hurt. And then our another slot, Trayvon Moore. I believe he's like
Trayvon Moore. Okay.
Ones. A lot of people don't know John McKay, aka Short.
Yeah.
Like one of them ones.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's some of your receiver guys you're getting the ball to, spreading the ball out, man. Let's talk about it, man. Okay. All right, but you got over hey, you got the stats too, right? You know what I'm saying? You got the 1,000-yard season already. You throwing for double-digit touchdowns, man. But for the college coaches watching, man, that's you need to check out your film. What do you feel like separates yourself from some of the other quarterbacks in the 2026 class? And what do you feel like you can bring to the table at some of these Division I schools, man?
What separates myself is my ability to run. I love to run. I love to play the game. But, hey, my objective is always to get the ball into Dallas, into Lundy, into all my receivers' hands as quick as possible, as best as possible. But if I can't do that, not one person in the open field is getting me down. So always run. Yeah. If I fall into one of them guys' hands.
Okay, so you got that dual threat ability, right? That they need to be looking out for. Okay, cool. So let's talk about you, man. Will you put a body work like this? Had a solid season last year, but coming over to transfer over to TBT and already having a good year to start off 5 games into the season, man. Let's talk about it. Are there any schools showing you love right now? Are any offers we got or any schools that we should be looking out for, brother?
Right now, I have just a whole bunch of interest from a lot of schools. You know, schools just talk about up to games like that, really.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to mention any schools right now that's been showing you a little bit of love more than anybody else? You know what I mean?
Alabama texted me a couple of times in these past to come up to a game. I was unable to go. North Dakota State. I've been talking to UCF, Coastal Carolina soon, NC State, Wake Forest. That's really it right there.
Okay. All right, man. I got to ask you, bro, 2026, right? So you still got another season, man. What do you want to work on? You know what I mean? What do you want to work on heading into your senior season? I know you got a few games left before we start working on the off season, but what do you want to show? What do you want to put on film for this body of work going to this junior season? And what do you want to work on, you know what I mean, to better your game for your senior season, brother?
Better my game, my footwork, feet work. Feet work is game with quarterbacks. So I got to get my feet work better. I mean, I feel like I'm improving, but hey, it's always still margin for growth and that feet work in that area.
Yeah, what's some of the things you do with Balin to kind of work on your footwork, man? I know he likes to do a lot of off-platform type drills. Just talk about some of the things you and Balin kind of go over to work on that.
Usually being calm in the pocket. I mean, just once you get into our top of our drop and releasing the ball calmly and like just having smooth feet, really, just very smooth, being smooth. All
right, man. Let's have a little fun, Darryon. Let's have a little icebreaker right here, man, and have a little Drew's Fast 5. You know what I'm saying? So Drew's Fast 5. I got 5 quick questions for you, man. You just answer them to the best of your ability. All right, let's go, man. All right, first one. Favorite player of all time?
Cam Newton, 2016 Cam Newton. Yes.
Yeah, okay. You might know a little something. All right, you might know a little something. You know what I mean? No, Cam was a dog. You know what I mean? He definitely got a little bit of that Cam in him, Cam and you. You know what I mean? Big little, good little frame too. What's your frame right now? What's your height and weight right now?
I'm around 6'2", 6'3", like 215.
Oh, hey, somebody gonna get truck stick. You get in front of that 215, boy, coming in lacking. All right, bet. So, all right, what's favorite pregame song?
Favorite pregame song?
Yeah. What you like to lock into with? You know what I mean?
Some reason why I like to lock into Rod Wave. I'm a big Rod Wave fan.
So okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Girls all over the world. You know what I mean? Just lock in real quick. Ain't nothing wrong with that. All right, bet. Favorite post-game meal?
Post-game meal? Wings. Probably some wings from Firehouse.
Ooh, my boy gonna smack some wings real quick after the game, throwing some touchdowns, go get some wings. All right, bet. All right, if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Super speed. Super speed.
Super speed. That's that dual threat right there. He want to just burn past people. Okay, bet. All right, and for the people, man, what's your best skill on the football field?
My best skill, I think my best skill would be a hard one. My best skill is leadership. I think my leadership. Have to be able to be a leader of men. So yeah.
That's the quarterback answer, guys. You know what I mean? That's the quarterback answer to leadership. You can't go wrong with leadership, right? All right, man. Hey, man, really quick, man. Hey, I definitely want to have this kid back on. Like I told you, he's just 2026 quarterback, and he still has plenty of time. But like I told him, he definitely a top 10 right now, right? I'm about to update these 2026 quarterbacks on the platform. He's in there. You know what I mean? Taking a look at what he's done. Take a look at some of the other guys that's on the list. He's definitely earned his spot in this top 10 2026 quarterback list midway through the season. So, man, definitely appreciate you for coming on to give us your time, bro. Definitely want to have you back on, right, to give the people a recruiting update after you get after a start like this. And if you finish strong with some of the kids you got around you, the coach is going to be coming, right? And if you handle what you got to do off the field in the classroom, there ain't nothing that can hold you back, bro. He's got the good frame. He's got the dual threat abilities. And he's got the arm, right? Don't sleep on the arm. Like I told you, he took home the QB, the QB MVP at the red zone count, right? He didn't get that for running. He got it for throwing dimes. You know what I mean? Throwing dice. So don't sleep on the arm. Don't sleep on my dog. You know what I mean? So I want to say good luck against Spodo this weekend. I know they got some kids, but you guys definitely can control that game. Just let the people know where they can find you at, Darryon.
They can find me on Instagram at JON5ES and on Twitter at Darryon Jones QB. Okay.
All right, man. I appreciate you, brother, for giving us your time. Like I said, 2026 quarterback out of Tampa Bay Tech. Hey, they got a bit. They can control this season, right? Took a couple of, you know what I'm saying, bumps in the road to start the season, but that's what it's all about. That's what it's about, learning with a new team, learning with a new coaching staff and a group of guys. You finished the season off strong. So this kid's got a bright future as well. Definitely a smart kid. It's got a good background too, right? Got a good people supporting them, right? That's what it's about too. So shouts out to your people, man. I know you got a lot of support on that end. And I know you putting in the work, right, with the training, right? So bright future ahead for you, man. Good luck this weekend. Definitely want to have you back on the show, but appreciate you for coming on and give us your time, bro.
Thank you, Drew. Shout out to my quarterback trainers and my coaches and my team and my family and God.
Yeah. Hey, there you go, man. Smart kid, bro. Y'all make sure y'all follow him on social medias. We definitely going to be keeping up with you, bro. Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, bro. Hey, man, that's another smart kid, man. 2026 quarterback, Darryon Jones. He deserves a spotlight too, man. Like I said, we've been following him for some time. He won that when he won that QB MVP. I was like, it was some guys there too, man. So I definitely have my eyes on him since then and to see what he's done. 5 games through the season with a new playbook, new coaching staff. Shouts out to him, man. But hey, make sure you guys, if you're watching right now, liking and subscribing to the channel. I really would appreciate it if you've been tuned in for this long. But we're gonna keep it rolling, man. I got another guest coming in, but make sure you guys like and subscribe. Let's keep it rolling. All right, fam. Moving right along with my guest, man. A lot of exciting things happening in high school right now, not just in the state of Florida, but Texas seems to be the king right now with all these top 25 teams. Someone that's all over the state, just a good friend of mine. Glad to have him rejoin the show. Welcome everybody, National Scout, Marc Henry. What's up, brother? Talk to me, man. How you feeling? How you feeling?
What it do? Oh, man, maintaining. Trying to see what's happening, man. Getting ready for another week.
Hey, man, y'all trying to take that crown, man. Texas definitely trying to take that crown early, you know what I mean? Y'all got a lot of ranked teams right now, a lot of firepower, good games going on right now every week. Absolutely. Talk to us, man. Yeah, you're at games from Thursday to Saturday, man. Talk to the people. What's some of these exciting games you've been at too lately?
Well, last week I had a chance to catch Duncanville and Waxahachie. It was a district game, the first district matchup for both teams. Waxahachie was just coming off a big victory over a pretty good Forney team, 37-34. They have a young sophomore quarterback in Jeremiah III that I was interested in seeing. Have been, hearing good things about him through the summer. He moved in from Las Vegas, Nevada. I think it was close to Las Vegas. Won state as a sophomore, set records out there in Nevada. He's the first-year starting quarterback for Waxahachie.
Yeah.
which is a pretty good program here in the state of Texas, and Duncanville, coming off a couple of big victories.
Yeah.
Just kind of wanted to see where they were at going into, really the big game is going to be October 11th. That's when they play DeSoto.
Yes, sir.
That's the game that I have circled on my camera. I mean, on my calendar, probably as a
Got
big
it, man.
game of the year.
Yeah.
Kind of just wanted to see what Duncanville was looking like up close and personal. Of course, I see highlights, cut ups and stuff. Probably week to week because they get a lot of attention,
Yeah.
from guys in the media. But I was super impressed. I thought that Keelan Russell, he's the best
Mm.
quarterback in the country to me.
Wow. Big statement.
Big state. Well, he makes a big statement with his
Yeah,
play.
there you go. Yeah.
It's just the way his the ball jumps out of his hand. Kalen
Mm.
DeBoer from Alabama, the head coach, was there at the game
Yeah.
to watch him.
Wow.
And he impressed. 6 touchdowns, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns to Decory Moore. Zach
Yeah.
Turner got involved, Ace Diaz. And 2027 wide receiver Trent Yancey got involved as well.
Mm.
They have a really good team. But I thought what I was most impressed with, those are the things that you're going to hear about because those are the big plays.
Yeah.
Duncanville's secondary was what I was really impressed with. 2 SMU commits, Javion Holiday and Tyron Polley. And
Mm.
then another guy that's getting a lot of buzz over there is Braylon Edwards, 2026 cornerback that I think people are going to start to see about. And, we usually watch the game, offensively is coming towards us. So I can see everything kind of happening on the back end in their secondary. They
Yeah.
were lights out because they had a pretty good receiving core on the other side, and they didn't really get a chance to get in a really good rhythm. The final score was 41-17, but I think that their secondary is needs to get a little bit more love than they've been getting.
Yeah.
This was probably the best passing team that they faced, even though they faced the nationally ranked St. Francis. They
Yeah.
held those guys in pretty good check. But 2026 receiver Corbin Brown came into that game after getting over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns the previous week.
Mm.
And they kind of kept him bottled up. He made a few plays here and there, and they kind of shut the passing game down. Kevin Ford, KJ Ford, 2026 edge rusher, was phenomenal, and some of those guys up front. Bonner's a guy that you'll see something on the platform before the week is about. He's kind of a hybrid safety, outside linebacker. He played phenomenal. I
Yeah.
was very impressed with him.
Yeah.
So Duncanville's defense I think is it may not have the big names outside of KJ Ford, and Tyron Polley, and Javion Holiday, like the Colin Simmonses of old and Alex January, some of those guys that you knew about nationally. But this defense was very, very good. That was a pretty good
Yeah.
Waxahachie offense that they stopped.
Yep.
So, the
Duncanville's
ranking,
tough.
right?
They
The
been,
rankings,
no.
the
They've
rankings.
been Duncanville's been tested too early, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they've been
Yeah.
tested very early. Like I
Yeah.
said, the reason I went to this game was to see, first of all, how Waxahachie, what they were looking like as a team that's really trying to fight for that probably third or fourth spot in that district because Duncanville
Mm.
and DeSoto are
They
probably
on
going
the
to be 1 and
rise.
2. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I wanted to see Duncanville up close, but Keelan Russell is as advertised.
You know,
If you've had a chance to see him play on the
yeah.
7-on-7 circuit, but if you've never seen him play in person, I mean, there's not too many quarterbacks in America on a high school level that are better than him.
Mm. Yeah.
And I put him against everybody. Just the way he performed, his
Yeah.
ability to get outside the pocket and make throws on point,
Yeah.
on a rope.
Yeah.
His running ability is what you want to see, and then his maturity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His stature. He's there. He's
So
ready for the next level.
So Duncanville got somebody on the center, you know what I mean? They got the pieces on both sides of the ball. Definitely one of the top teams in the country. Let's talk about it, Mark. Let's talk
Yeah.
about these top 25 that they just put out.
Okay.
You guys got 11 in the top 25, 11 teams. You mentioned the Duncanville, you mentioned the Soto, but North Shore is in there, South Lake Carroll. Let's talk about some of these teams that's in the top 25, maybe that's on the rise, that you like.
I like Atascocita. Right
Atascocita,
now,
yes, sir.
yeah, right now they're above North Shore, but that game's going to be in a couple of weeks. I'll probably be in Houston for that one.
Why they just
Uh,
jump North Shore like that, man?
well, they've had a couple of big wins. They beat Westlake, which is number
Okay.
12, at home on the road. They hadn't lost at home since 2015.
Oh,
That's a significant win. That would be the only reason that they're above those guys right now. I've talked about Corday Mack, 2026. He's really, probably been recruited as a running back, but they've played him at quarterback this year, and he's been phenomenal. He's been able to run and pass, at the same time and make big plays. And Broderick Malone's a guy that's been showing up for those guys, big play wide receiver, 6'6" outside. And of course,
Yeah.
they have Torrey Blaylock, the Oklahoma commit. These guys have been playing well. They got a nice defensive back that I've been watching on that defensive side of the ball, and Brandon Washington has been showing up and doing some big things. The big win over Westlake, who is ranked number 12 in the country right now, is the reason they're above North Shore. I think that they're on a collision course. You spoke about South Lake Carroll. They just had a big win over Euless Trinity last week in a district
Okay.
matchup, 56-48.
Right.
Riley Wormley, you've seen him play with Wall Street, running back,
Wall
USC
Street.
commit. Yes, sir. Shout out to my guy, Coach Wise. He was phenomenal in that game, had a big 75-yard run. They also have a 2026 running back and Davis Penn as a Baylor commit. They're a 1-2 punch. But I
Right.
really think the difference this year has been the play of 2026 quarterback Angelo Randa. He's a guy that's been stepping up. He's a dual threat. He's a
Yeah.
guy that can run it and throw it. And he's kind of he's giving South Lake some stability at the quarterback position and really the running ability that they haven't had in a long time. So I
Okay.
think Coach Riley Dodge, is playing his cards early and showing that, hey, we got a little something cooking over here, because their only loss last year was to DeSoto, which ended up being the state champion, which was
Yeah.
a semifinal matchup. So the
Yeah.
reason they're ranked that high is because of that. You talk about North Crowley,
Yeah.
significant wins over Geyer, DeSoto. They beat Rockwall 70-17 last week.
Mm.
They're playing top-notch competition. They beat a very good Lancaster team in week 1. And they've done these things on the road. Their first home game was Geyer. You know what I'm saying? So they're above DeSoto because they beat them in a head-to-head matchup. DeSoto's kind of righted the ship a little bit. They got back to their winning ways after that one, and they shouldn't face anybody else in stiff competition until they get to that October 11th game against
Duncanville.
Duncanville.
Yeah.
Austin Westlake, that's the home of my guy Reese Weiss, 2026 quarterback. We've talked about him before. He's playing very, very well this year. Their only loss was to Atascocita, which we talked about.
Yeah.
Summer Creek, out of the Humble area. So Summer Creek, Atascocita, and North Shore are all in the same district. So some of those are going to shake up in the next few weeks.
For sure.
Blake Thomas, their quarterback, is phenomenal over there.
Mhm.
They got a guy in Chad Wolford that's a high-level edge rusher. So those are very good players as well. I think the
Mhm.
surprise team out of this list has been the Allen Eagles. I didn't
Yeah.
know what to expect from Allen this year, but they have played phenomenal.
Mhm.
They're undefeated with wins over Midland Legacy, Cedar Hill, Prosper,
Mm.
Rock Hill, and Plano. So, they're in a district that features McKinney, Prosper, and McKinney Boyd. It'll
Yeah.
probably be some of that stiff competition. But their quarterback, Brady Bricker, has been playing phenomenal. He got injured last year and kind of slowed that momentum down. They still were a playoff team, but Bricker's been playing at a high level. He's a guy that's
Mm.
starting to get some looks from the college level programs. And Caleb Smith is a do-it-all athlete in the 2026 class, offense, defense that can play well. And
Mhm.
LeBron Barr is a top-notch cornerback over there that plays well for those guys. You got Kyle Wheaton, Josh Shaw. On the D line, you got Devin Palmer and at tight end Dustin Kellison, who's a guy that's probably not getting as much fandom as you would see, but college coaches are starting to look this way, especially with those guys being undefeated right now. But Allen is, if you had to ask me out of all of those teams on the list, it's probably the team coming into the season that
Allen.
we were kind of didn't know much about, but now going in, we're kind of midway through the season now.
Yeah.
This is the reason they're on that list, because of the high quality wins that they have, and Brady Bricker's at the top of that list when it comes to playing well.
Let me ask you, a majority of these teams public schools, right?
Yes, sir. No
That's the
private
issue.
schools at all.
For you Florida high school fan, that's the issue, right? Like, we got these private schools, these IMGs and etc., where they take a lot of the talent. But you see, when these public schools come up, this is what can happen, right? This is how
Yeah.
you get 11 teams ranked in the top in the nation, because there's so much talent spread around and it's not focused on 1 or 2 or 3 schools in different areas at these private schools. So, and you see the investment, right? You see the stadiums already. You see how different it can look. But you mentioned a few 2026s, man. I got to ask you, we put out a few platform lists of our 2026 guys to keep eyes on throughout the season. There's been some numbers put up, man. There's been some games played. I believe you guys are in week 5 going into this week. So just talk about any of the 2026s you like. Maybe that was some on the list, or any of the risers that we can should have our eyes on going forward.
Talked about Colin Brown from Waxahachie. He was kind of one of those guys that I had a chance to see in the offseason that I thought would have a big year. When you play the receiver position, you're dependent on the rest of the offense to get you the ball, especially the quarterback. Well,
Yes,
he's
sir.
been that guy. He had a 200-yard game the week before. I think he started to really blow up on the recruiting trail. Ole Miss, BYU.
Mm-hmm.
He just got, Baylor. All of these schools have come right after this particular game that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 2026 receiver, and he plays a little bit of cornerback as well, so he's really more of an athlete. They used him on both sides of the ball at the game against Duncanville last week. I
Yeah.
was very, very impressed. I'm talking about a guy that's got that extra gear when he gets the ball in his hands. I thought that he didn't get maybe enough opportunities because of the way Duncanville was really trying to take him away
Yeah.
as their key playmaker.
Yeah.
But he's a guy that I really was super impressed with in person in pads. I'd seen him 7-on-7, seen him at camps.
Yeah.
He played for Wall Street as well. And you had a chance to see him, I think, in the Dallas Melissa tournament. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? He was a guy that really flashed for you as well.
Yes,
But
sir.
I think in the state of Texas, he's a guy that in the 2026 class that's really made a statement for himself. Um, I would say, we talked about Quentin Gibson a couple of weeks ago from North Crowley. I would
Mm-hmm.
say if he's not the hottest recruit in the state of Texas right now, then
Yeah.
I don't think nobody's doing their due diligence in
Hey,
recruiting.
really quick, Mark, because I know
Sure.
you got Mark has to get out of here soon, guys. He got his own show he got to do. But talk about that kid, man, Quentin Gibson, somebody that you put a video out on, and somebody that we talked about on Under the Lights, and now he's starting to get these national attention, right? But talk about
Yeah.
a kid like that at North Crowley High School. They were able to take down DeSoto. They was pushing for that #1 spot in the nation at the
Right.
time. You know what I mean? I
Right.
don't think many people thought they could lose, but to go in there, upset those guys, to have these type of games, these video game type numbers. Talk about a kid like Quentin Gibson who deserves that under the radar type kid who deserves the spotlight.
Well, I think that Quentin's one of those guys. The only reason he was under the radar is because he had two power forward receivers in front of him
Okay.
last year as a junior. He was one of those guys where they used him in certain situations last year. And if you talk to his head coach, Coach Gates, he will tell you that this kid's been doing this in practice.
Mm,
We saw this on the 7-on-7 circuit
mm,
this past year when he lit it up with Wall Street.
okay.
He was due for a big year. It's just one of those things when you get your opportunity, you have to take advantage of it. And Quentin Gibson's done that. You also have to look at that. Chris Jefferson, his quarterback, or North Texas Smith, is playing at a high level as well. So when
Okay.
you put the two together, that's success. And they're finding ways to get Gibson the ball. And when he
Mm,
gets it, he turns it into touchdowns. He's not turning it into short gains. He's turning it into touchdowns and big plays. This guy's a flat out baller. In
mm,
whatever sense you want to put him in, whatever environment you want to put him in, he's going to excel. I was standing on the sideline. TCU was there. I mean,
mm,
Christian was there to set the DeSoto game. The
mm.
next morning, Texas State,
Offers, right?
Nevada. Yes, right. In the last 3 weeks, I'm sure Coach Gates' phone has been blowing up and going bananas about Quentin Gibson
Mm-hmm.
because of the performance that he put on. He had 4 touchdowns in the first half last week against Rockwall
Yeah.
in a 70-17 win. He can flat out do it. College coaches are seeing it because it's been on a national stage because of the competition that they played. They
Yeah.
played Lancaster week 1. They played DeSoto week 2. They played Geyer, which is a nationally ranked team,
Another
week
ranked team.
3.
Yeah.
Rockwall was a top 25 team last week coming in the state of Texas. The level of competition that he's doing it against is high level as well. They're not playing anybody that's not a slouch, and they're going
Yeah.
to be some competitive games in their district coming up. So he's
Mm,
putting up these numbers against very good teams, and he's getting it on film. This is something that we talk about when it comes to the exposure piece is
yeah.
when you perform, how you perform, and when you do it, you have to go all out and do it. This is
Mm-hmm.
the perfect storm, the perfect example of the right exposure at the right time, and he's capitalizing on it. But we knew Gibson, people that kind of been we knew Gibson could play already. It's just
Right.
getting his opportunity. And Coach Gates will tell you that as well. He's been doing this for a couple of years. It's just he has his opportunity and
Yep.
he's seizing it now. Now
Mm,
everybody else is starting to see it, and it's working out great for his team as well as him. North Crowley is one of those teams that I like them to be right there at the end. Last year they lost 56-10 to Duncanville in the semifinals, Duncanville went on to win the state championship. This is a totally different North Crowley team. Each year, each team, different situations. As far as we can see, these two teams, Duncanville and North Crowley, are on a collision course to meet again if everything goes right.
Mm.
I think that North Crowley is one of the better teams, not definitely in the state. They deserve to be ranked in the country because of their stellar play and the pieces that they have. They have John Torrentine, one of the top 2026 tackles in the country. Uh, they have Jonathan Cunningham on defense, who's a Texas commit. Bradshaw, who's another kid that plays well, Fulbright at corner. He's a Tulsa commit. They have some pieces.
Yeah.
Talked about Daniel Bray as well as Cornelius Warren, the third UNLV commit. They have the pieces in a perfect storm to make a run to state because this is the team that they had. A lot of these guys are coming back from last year. Now they've put this full circle. Again, they've only had 2 losses. They haven't lost a regular season game in the 2 years, going on 3 now with this third season that Coach Gase has been at the helm. They've only
Mm.
lost 2 games,
Mm.
and those have been both playoff games. And but one of them was to an eventual state champion in Duncanville. This is a program that's culturally is on the right path, and
Yeah.
that's the reason that they're one of the highly rated teams.
Got you. And I know you got to get out of here, bro, but just give us a quick breakdown, man, a quick preview. It's going down in 2 weeks, man. Duncanville versus DeSoto. DeSoto, like you said, is back on their winning ways. They took a little loss to North Crowley, like we just talked about, but still one of the powerhouses in the state and in the country. Just preview that game really quick, brother.
Well, I think it's going to be it's going to be a very high contest. You got to realize these guys grow up together, they work out together, they play 7-on-7 together. They played little league together. These schools are within 5 to 6 miles apart, probably. So you drive on one side of the freeway is Duncanville, you drive on one side of the freeway is DeSoto. So the hype's going to be there.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to be the team that probably has the smallest amount of penalties and who make the least mistakes. Both of their quarterbacks are phenomenal. Keldon Ryan's a Virginia Tech commit. You had a chance to see Keldon on the 7-on-7 circuit as well.
Yeah.
Now, what you don't see at 7-on-7 is his ability to make plays with his feet. He was phenomenal. He had a couple of touchdowns on the ground against North Crowley. His ability to make throws outside of the pocket. Tiger Ryden's one of the best running backs in the country. You got Booby Feaster as well. You also have um, um, what's my guy's name on the defense side? Kiki Abrams,
Yeah.
TCU
Oh, yeah.
commit.
You and Abrams, yeah, monster.
Yes, you saw him with True Buzz. You
Got
know
to
what I
see
mean?
him. Yeah.
So this is gonna be a game where some of these things are gonna cancel out. But I think the big picture is this is for the district championship. So
Mm.
one of these guys is going to be a champion on the district, and one of these guys is going to continue to go on to make a run. And both of these teams have won back-to-back state championships, so they're going for 3 peats. So this in the big picture is bragging rights, national implications as well because they're both
Yeah.
top 5, top 10 teams, and
Yeah.
bragging rights right in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
That's good.
I think it's going to come down to some coaching as well. You got to look at Reginald Samples as a Hall of Fame coach.
Mm.
Coach Mathis is on his way to being a Hall of Fame coach as well.
Yeah.
Both coaching staffs know each other very well. So it's going to be up to who makes the least mistakes and who's just red hot. If I had to say, I think Keelan Russell is probably the hottest quarterback right now,
Yeah.
just based on his performance. But I think Keldon Ryan's going to have something to say about that.
Yeah.
It's going to be who makes the biggest defensive stops. Dalen Singleton had a monster game last year. He's an SMU commit, punt return. Then he got it done with a big play over top.
Yep.
And then I had even talked about Zachary Turner and Decorian Moore. Who's going to cover those guys? I think the secondary DeSoto is going to have their hands full because now they don't just have Moore, they don't just have Turner. You got Ace and Theus, and you got Trent Yancey. They got 4 different receivers.
Yeah.
I think looking back at the St. Francis game, St. Francis tried to take Decorian Moore away. They
Okay.
doubled him a lot of the night. They had 2 guys on him, kind of
Safety
shadow.
over the top.
Right, but
Yeah.
guess what? Zachary Turner had one of his
It
biggest
opens up
games of
for
the
other
season.
guys to make plays.
Absolutely, and Keelan Russell's able to find those guys. So
Right. Yeah. Okay.
you have to look at those. You have to look at quarterback play. Who's going to win in the trenches? and then the least penalties, I think will come out on top. It's going to be a great game. I'll definitely be in the
Huge.
house for that one. Huge
That would
game.
be a huge
Huge
game,
game.
man.
Absolutely.
We had a couple of those out here in Florida, the ING Coco, Jones, Edgewater, a couple of those games. But that game right there, if you have it called a Texas game, it's going to be 30,000 people in the stands, right? It's going to be
Absolutely.
crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you
but
might have to book a flight for that one.
you might. Hey, come on, Mark. Hey, we'll turn that coverage up, dog. Hey, Marc Henry, man. This guy of mine, a big time friend of mine, mentor of mine, works with the platform, has his own magazine, does his own show. And now he's contributing for Rivals too, man. This guy has his hand and he has different hats on for each day. So just proud to have him on. Glad to have him rejoin the show. Let the people know where they're gonna find you at for this weekend, brother.
This weekend I will be at Cedar Hill versus Lancaster. In that same district, these teams are fighting for third and fourth, but they have a bunch of guys that are college ready. Juelz Carter's a running back that I want to see in person for Cedar Hill. He had a big game last week. Carter Jones, Nevada commit for Lancaster quarterbacks, a big time quarterback that I think is maybe people aren't looking at. And Emmanuel Choice, 6'4" receiver committed to Oklahoma for Lancaster, is a guy that I want to see. I saw Manny last year as a junior, but now he's taking his game to the next level. So that'll be the game that I'll be at this week and have my eyes on. Of course, I'll always have my eyes on a couple of more games. You talked about the quarterback for Panther Creek a little bit off air. Yeah. They got a big game against Salina, which is a 4A matchup. Two teams. If I had to say right now, I like Panther Creek going all the way. I've been kind of watching them from afar this year. I'll probably get eyes on them in a couple of weeks. But that's a big game as well. You got the Battle of Forney and North Forney, which is a small town out east going towards on the other side of Dallas. That's a big game. Javion Osborne, you asked about the 2026 list. He's one of those running backs on that list, and he's been playing well. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, he's got probably 40 offers from whatever school you want to think for him in the country. But I think Texas is very high on him right now. And he's one of those guys that can get going behind that offensive line. I'm really been impressed with his play this year. So those are probably some of the games that I have an eye on if I'm not there in person. But you can follow me at MarkHen44 on Twitter, at Mark_Hen44 on Instagram. Also the platform DR as well. TXTP Show and TXTP Show on Twitter and Instagram. So those are the primary focuses that I'll be on this weekend. Yep. But you can always reach out to me there.
On the Mark Show.
Yeah, we always got to hit our mark, man. I'm gonna get ready to head up to the studio now. Yeah. You can check us out on the Fishbowl Radio Network.
Yes,
we'll have a coach from Randall High School down in Houston. They got a big game against Iowa Colony this week. Landon Williams Callis is one of the top running backs in class 2027. We'll talk about him a little bit. That plays for Randall High School. So that'll be the guest today. He's got a pretty good team down there. He's always been very good about letting us come into his program. I think this is his third year at Randall. So I was over there his first year to kind of see, the things that they had going on. And he kind of told me a couple years ago that this would be his best team. They made a deep playoff run last year. So we're going to talk about that and more today on the On Your Mark Show.
Man, I really appreciate you for joining, bro. I might have to have you jump back on to, kind of recap that Duncanville DeSoto game when it goes down in a couple of weeks. But hey, man, for Marc Henry, make sure you guys follow him on all social media platforms. Like you said, he has his own show, so make sure you guys tap into that as well. Good brother of mine, he'll be back on the show, man. Y'all make sure y'all stay tapped in, though. Appreciate you for joining, brother. We'll talk for sure. My dog. That's my dog right there, man. Y'all make sure, like I said, y'all follow him on all social media platforms. Big time, boots on the ground, man. That's one of the top scouts in Texas, if not the top, right? This guy has his hand everywhere. It's like, you know what I mean? Somebody I look up to. But y'all make sure y'all continue watching. Our next guest is coming on. Made it right there.